All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Tyler, and I am a financial planner. You guys have probably seen my Facebook ads, which if you have, welcome. Hopefully the YouTube video series here that I'm going to be creating will be helpful for you. What I want to talk about today is Social Security and when to take it, because there's a lot of questions that people have when it comes to when is the optimal time to take Social Security. And the answer is it depends. And so with this video, I want to try to keep it short, sweet, straight to the point, so that way you get a little bit more clarity and some questions you may have. If you feel as though this video didn't answer all your questions, please put them in the comments, because I want to make sure I can refine these videos and make them better for you. And so what we try to look at and what many people wonder is, why does this matter? Why is this important to me, and why should you consider this? And so what I want to make sure everyone understands about Social Security is that it actually matters in most of our lives, because 1 in 5 retirees, aka 20%, rely on Social Security as their only source of retirement income. That's kind of scary. And if you think about it, 1 in 3 retirees get 90% of their income from it. So this is not just a line item in your retirement plan. For most people, this is their retirement plan. And this is why getting the timing right matters so much. So we want to try to talk about, when we're looking at Social Security, is what makes it so unique. First, it's lifetime income, so it doesn't run out. Second, it is government backed, so it's not a market account that can drop 30% in a bad year. Third, it has an annual cost of living adjustment, aka COLA, C-O-L-A, not like Coca-Cola, and your benefit grows with inflation automatically. Fourth, it has preferential tax treatment, so a portion may be tax-free depending on what your income is, and we'll go into details when it comes to that as well in the video. Fifth is it has its survivor benefits, so if you pass away, your spouse may be entitled to your benefit. And 6, it serves as a hedge against poor investment performance, because if the market tanks in your first year of retirement, Social Security still shows up every month. And so when you understand these features, you start to see why locking in the right benefit amount at the right time is such a significant decision for someone in retirement. Let's talk about one of the most important factors here is your full retirement age, or FRA. So what is that? So your full retirement age is the age at which you receive 100% of that earned Social Security benefit. So it's not a reduced version, not a boosted version, the full amount that you've earned. For most people watching this, your FRA is 67. So that applies to anyone born in 1960 or later. If you were born between 1955 and 59, your FRA falls somewhere between 66 and 2 months and 66 and 10 months. And then if you were born before 1955, which we do have clients that are born earlier than that, your FRA is 66. So here's why it matters. Everything we're about to discuss, early reductions and delayed credits, is calculated based on that full retirement age. So knowing yours is ultimately step 1. So then we want to look at is, when do you want to claim? The Social Security claiming window opens at 62 and closes at 70. So that's an 8-year window where you can more or less just start your benefit. So if you claim before your FRA, your benefit is permanently reduced. And if you wait past your FRA, your benefit permanently increases. And here's the part that catches a lot of people off guard. Whatever you choose is locked in for life. So this is not a decision you can revisit in a few years and get a different amount. It's permanent. So this is why it deserves careful thought and ideally a personalized analysis. So you might be wondering, well, what happens when you file early? So when we look at when you file early, you receive 70% of your full benefit. That's a 30% permanent reduction. At 63, you reach 75%, at 64, 80%, at 65, 86%, at 66, 93%, and then finally at 67, you get 100%. You get that full benefit. Now, there are legitimate reasons to claim early. Maybe you need the income right now. Maybe you have health concerns. Maybe the break-even math for you works in your favor given more or less your specific situation. Those are real, valid considerations. But the key word throughout all this is permanent. That reduction doesn't go away after a few years. It applies to every check for the rest of your life. And it also affects your cost of living adjustments because ultimately those are calculated on a smaller starting benefit. So you might be thinking, well, okay, maybe I'm not leaning more towards the penalty because I don't want to have a reduction. What's the bonus of me waiting? So if we were to flip over to the other side of the coin here and see what the picture is, if you wait past your FRA, every year you delay, you get an 8% benefit. So that's called a delayed retirement credit. So at 68, you would receive 808% of your full benefit. At 69, 116. And at 70, the maximum, 124%. So what makes that 8% per year so powerful is that it's guaranteed to you. And it's not market dependent. It's not a projection. Social Security will pay you 8% more every year you wait up to age 70. And then some people always ask, well, what if can I do 71, 73 when the RMD start? No, the cap here is 70. There's no additional credits past 70. So 70 is the ceiling for you, even though delaying can be a powerful strategy. It's important to keep that in mind. So then what we want to try to look at is what is the impact of delaying? What is the impact of claiming it early? So if we were to look at things, how would this look at in actual dollars? Let's just use round numbers with a 2% annual cost of living adjustment. So if you claimed at 62, you might receive about $18,000 a year. At 67, your FRA might be about $24,000. And then to wait till 70, $31,680. That's 70% more annually at 70 compared to 62. Now, I know what you're thinking. If I wait, I miss the years of payment. When does delaying actually pay off? That break-even point from 62 to 67 is around age 78. And then from 67 to 70 is around age 80. And a healthy 65-year-old person today has a median life expectancy well into their 80s. So for many people, delaying comes out ahead over a lifetime. Though this depends heavily on your individual specific situation, be sure to consider all your options before making any decisions. So a lot to think about. Many people want the answer to what do most people do? Well, you might actually be surprised. About 37% of Americans actually claim at 62, the earliest possible moment. And only about 3% wait until 70. And I want to be careful here. That doesn't mean everyone claiming at 62 is making the wrong choice. That's not what I'm saying. Everyone has a valid reason as to when they're claiming their Social Security. But a lot of people claim early out of concern that Social Security won't be around, or because get it while you can feels like the safe move. That instinct is understandable, but it's worth running the actual numbers for your situation before making that call. So some people ask and wonder too, well, can you work while collecting? You can do both, but there's earning limits that you need to be aware of before you reach your FRA. So if you're under your full retirement age for the full year, $1 of those benefits is withheld for every $2 that you earn above $24,480. In the year you reach your FRA, the limit goes up. So that's $1 withheld for every $3 earned above $65,160. And then once you reach your FRA, there's no earnings limit at all. So you can earn as much as you want without any restriction. One important point though is any benefits withheld are not permanently lost. So once you hit your FRA, Social Security recalculates your benefit and adds back what was withheld. So it's delay in payment, but not a permanent reduction. And so as we're working through here, we're making all this money. Most people's thoughts, well, what am I going to be taxed, right? And so when we want to talk about taxes, a lot of people are surprised to learn that Social Security benefits can be partially taxable. Whether and how much depends on something called your provisional income. That's your adjusted gross income plus any tax-exempt interest plus 1/2 of your Social Security benefits. And I'm gonna repeat that, 1/2. So half your Social Security benefits, not the whole, half. So if that number is below 25,000 as a single or 32,000 if married filing joint, your Social Security is not taxed at all. If you're between 25,000 and 34 single or 32,000 and 44,000 married, up to 50% of your benefit may be taxable. Above those thresholds, up to 85% could be subject to federal income tax. So this is why tax planning around Social Security matters, because strategic Roth conversions, managing your withdrawal order, and controlling your taxable income in retirement can meaningfully affect how much your Social Security you actually keep in your pocket at the end of the day. So a lot of information. How can you make a decision? So there's 5 key factors to consider when it comes to looking at your overall analysis. The first is your health, right? So the longer you expect to live, the more delaying your claiming tends to pay off over time. 2, you can look at other income sources. Can you sustain a lifestyle from your portfolio or pension while you wait to claim? Or do you need the income now? 3 is looking at your spouse's benefit, and this is one many people overlook. Your claiming decision directly affects your spouse's survivor benefit. And so if you pass away first, right? So this is important to consider. 4 is your investment portfolio. There's a real comparison to be made between drawing down your portfolio versus claiming Social Security early. Which strategy preserves more wealth over time really depends on your specific numbers. And 5 is Social Security solvency. The trustees report projects potential trust fund concerns as early as 2033 to 34 for the combined program if Congress doesn't act. Though many experts believe the legislation changes will happen before that point, but you want to be sure to consider all available options and the applicable factors before making any decisions. For married couples, Social Security actually gets a little bit more interesting because you're optimizing not for one, but 2 lives. So here's a general framework to consider. The higher earner in the household typically benefits from delaying as long as possible, ideally to age 70. And you may be asking, well, why is that? And it's because when one spouse passes away, the surviving spouse keeps the higher of the 2 benefits. So the larger that benefit, the more financial security the survivor has. The lower earner, on the other hand, may benefit from claiming earlier, because this would provide a little bit more income for the household while the higher earner waits. So this isn't a rule, it's just a framework to maybe consider, because every couple's situation is different based on their ages, the health, income needs, and really the gap between their individual benefits. But coordinating your claims is one of the highest value planning conversations married couples can have. So we talked about a lot of information here. We're running over 15 minutes. I want to leave you with 5 takeaways. So 1 is Social Security is a permanent decision. There's no revisiting it years later without the consequences, right? So you want to be cognizant of that. 2 is delaying adds 8% per year after your FRA. Guaranteed, it's not market dependent. 3, there's no single right age for everyone. Your health, your income needs, and your spouse all matter in this decision. 4, for married couples, you want to coordinate claims, especially for the higher earning timing. It can significantly impact lifetime and the survivor benefits. 5, tax planning around Social Security can meaningfully increase your after-tax income in retirement, so don't overlook it. There's a lot more to cover when it comes to this topic, spousal benefits, survivor strategies, and what I will say is there's going to be a part 2 to this, and we'll cover that in the next video series, so make sure you subscribe so that way you don't miss it. And finally, if you are getting close to this decision and you want to walk through your specific situation, you can book a complimentary conversation. It's 15 minutes. Name's Tyler Lavoie. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.